Sana, karibuni sana everybody to Masks. Oh gosh, this has been a minute. I have missed everyone here. Yeah, karibuni sana. This is Masks of the Youth. I'm used to hosting services, so I'm used to saying the youth service. I apologize, but karibu to Masks Off, one of the amazing services that we have at Front Runners, and Masks Off is an opportunity where we just to come and hang out, get to have amazing conversations with people, and they get to be real as possible with everyone. So Manze, if you're here, if you have made it, Manze, if you are celebrating the fact that you had a good week, Manze, why don't you just go ahead and just wave, say hello, tupatie ngumi mbwegze, Manze, say it all up in the comment section. We'll be able to see it. Yeah. It's gonna be amazing. So we're excited to have you here. Really are excited to have you here. And if you know you're here and you saw this poster or ad that tell somebody that or rather you saw this ad and you're talking about you're talking about high school and campus life and stuff, and it really got you excited, Manze. I just want to say, Manze, I commend you for having you here. And also, Manze, it's not too late to invite someone who is probably watching a game somewhere, watching Netflix ama kujikoni na jaribu kupika and stuff. Mwambie tu mtumie hiyo link, the icon hapo chini on Instagram that looks like this. If you're watching from Facebook, there's a Facebook there's a watch party, and then on YouTube you can always send a link to somebody who you know this constantly go. Yeah, and share this icon so that you can be as many and as merry as possible. Where? Hey, CDF works, people. Niko hapa kutoa ushuhuda ya kuwa CDF works, people. But karibuni tena once again. This is amazing. With me today, I have an amazing set of panelists who will be just taking me through the conversation that you're having today about to school life, high school life and campus life, Manze. And I don't know about like when what's funny is when you think about the days of schooling, there's always something that takes you back. It could be a song, it could be a matatu. It can be a matatu, people. Let me tell you, kuna wase wenye ulikuwa unajua ile mati na kurudisha Nairobi. That's a thing for you. It could be an artist who reminded you so much about high school. It could be a thing or a gig that you used to do then when you're in high school or campus. It could be a swag. So why don't you go ahead at the comment section? Now tuandike tu hapo tu ni nini inakukumbusha sana. Like when you think about high school, what is the one thing that really sweeps you off of your feet when you think about time in high school and the whatnot? And we'll be more than glad to just share the responses with you. So but like I said, Manze, I'm not here alone. I'm with an amazing set of people. Why don't I go ahead and introduce them to you, and then they can say hi, and then we get started, all right? So first of all, I have an amazing, phenomenal lady who I don't think this world is ready for her. Her name is Kanana. Very quiet, lakini very bubbly. So Kanana, why don't you say hi?
Hi. I'm Kanana. Yeah. And I'm happy. Yeah. Welcome.
Good stuff. Thank you so much, Kanana. With me, I have Wangari Jacinta Kare, better known as Kare. Kare, why don't you go ahead and say hi?
Hi guys, hope you're well. I am Jacinta Wangari. Yes. I'm a Bible student at KG East University, and I serve at ICT Nairobi. Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Thank you, Kare. We are happy to have you here as well. And then we also have Miss Natalie Abondo, better known as Nara Bobo. Hi, Nara. Karibu sana.
Asante sana. Good evening, viewers. My name is Nara, and I'm awake. It's very important to say that I'm awake. I'm usually asleep an hour ago. But ladies and gentlemen, here I am. Say a prayer for our sister to keep awake. But it's good to be here. I'm glad to be here.
Great. Thank you, Nara. I have one guy who is wrong. Right. Your best, Mr. Right. Karibu sana.
Asante sana Peter. I am super gassed up for this manze. Yani mimi nilijinoise pale high school yani. So every time I have an opportunity of talking about, reflecting and remembering some of my best moments in school, especially high school, mi hufurahia sana. So I'm super excited for this conversation tonight. Asante.
Great. Asante pia. And finally, we have our amazing past leader friend.
Yo, habari zenyu. I hope mko salama kabisa. I'm excited to be here. Well, as in high school for me, when I think about it, a number of years back, but I think one of the key things I think about is a gap year within high school. I was in high school from 1 to form 4, but from 2 kama na feel kama nilimiss kitu. Someone told me I was probably depressed. I just really can't account for it. But yes, God is good. I am here. Nilipita exams. Hata nikaenda university. Niliapa kuanzia certificate, lakini Mungu alinionekania.
Good stuff, Manze. Asante. Thank you all for honoring us with your time and being here. I'm really, really excited. So without much further ado, I just want to get to the questions, so that you can get to channel through or like go down memory lane and remember the important lessons that we learned, the embarrassing moments that we went through, and really what high school did for us, okay? At the comment section, probably Instagram, I'm seeing someone, I had asked a question, I had asked, like, what is the one thing that, thinking about high school, what does it take you back to? And there's someone who said that inamkumbusha pale Gill House hapo Tao wakati walikuwa nabishania matatu all the time every morning to go back to school. If you're joining us Manze right now, karibu tena sana. We're just going through times that you went through in school, both high school and campus. And I was just saying that Manze, if you remember anything, any song, an activity, a memory, like whatever it is that just takes you back to the time when you were in high school. It could be an artist, it could be, ata color, anything that just ukiona tu nasemanga kwanza acha niulize watu kusema siwezi kula githeri juu nilikula enough ya high school. Jambo, hello, mko hapa? Nataka kujua tu kuwa mko hapa, nipungieni mkono tafadhali. Niko happy Manze. I'm just looking at some of the reaction that I have. I see Jay Moya say mbuzi hunikumbusha maboys walinivalisha mbuzi uniform wakahepa nayo let me see if I'm reading that right. Walivalisha mbuzi uniform na wakahepa nayo. Gosh. Wakahepa nayo. I see someone saying aki watu wa Machakos High, ile joy ya macha tunaikumbuka tena sana. High school was trauma. Kaylin anasema uni ilikuwa tu ya sherehe. Where are we now? Anatupungia tumacho tu hapo hivyo. But very quickly, let me just go to the first question. And I think I'm taking this to Yobes. Yobes, what was your favorite meal in high school?
Peter, favorite meals. High school yetu kuna ugali ilikuwa inapikwa na ni kama kila time maji ilikuwa unga ilikuwa inazidi maji, so it used to form this kind of chicken mash. Sijui kama ushaiona chicken mash. So ilikuwa inakaa chicken mash, so tulikuwa tunaita chiko. But now we used to do some stuff on the chiko. Tunaiweka chocolate kidogo, inaekwa blue band kidogo, inaekwa njugu kidogo, my guy, yani tulikuwa tunatengeneza black forest kutoka kwa hiyo chicken mash. Chiko days were the best days of high school. So yeah, it has to be Chiko. Chiko takes it for me.
Noma. Asante Yobo. I said the comment section, kuna msetu amesema insider na gig zile za Bambucha Manze. Nikakumbuka, nikasema yeah, that definitely takes us back. Nara, I have this one for you. What was the color of your school uniform?
All right. Our school uniform was a navy blue sweater, a white shirt, a navy blue white striped tie, a sky blue skirt. It had to be two pleats, crazy, and white socks and black laced shoes. Is that my cue to say what school? Let me leave guys guessing. Can I just
the details for me?
Can we ask?
Sure.
Yeah, let's ask people to just guess away, right? Let's make it fun.
Okay.
Guess away.
If
Yeah.
you can get the name of the school that she has described, nimeshika two blue na black shoes. But if you can remember the name of the school, it will definitely go a long way. So if you know the name of the school, please go ahead and type it out at the comment section, yeah? Kanana, swali lako la leo ni, did you write letters in high school? Kanana, I think there's something wrong with your audio. We're not able to hear you too well, but I think nimeget ukisema nimeget ukisema niliandika barua cha lazima. So I don't know, maybe you can try and see if you can disconnect the audio and then connect it once again, or try using earphones. I know it's going to go a long way to sort out your internet, and then you can get to hear from you. We can't wait to hear the wisdom that you have in store for us. Okay? All right. Your high school, Kari?
I didn't quite get your question. Can you repeat?
Yes. What was the one unique thing about your high school?
One unique thing about my school is our school was located kwa mountain, like ilikuwa kwa mlima, and then administration block, that I found that so cool. Administration block ilikuwa juu ya mountain, administration and the classes, but the dorms zilikuwa huku chini ya huku down the mountain huko chini. So we used every day tulikuwa tunapanda more than 200 stairs tukienda class, ama tukienda like every kwanza prepare 5, imagine 5 am unaamka ukienda class na utapanda hizo stairs, then uteremke, then dining hall ilikuwa katikati ya nini, ilikuwa tu hapo katikati, like haikuwa kwa mountain na ilikuwa tu hapo. So that was so unique, and then it was so cold, like when it's cold it's so cold. So yeah, that was I think the most unique thing about our school. Pale ilikuwa tu imelokitiwa. Yeah.
Ngong Hills, umechorea kutosha kabisa. Asante Kari. Pastor Brian, let me ask you, I know you've shared quite a number of stories about your high school. Please go ahead and share just one of the funny stories or funny experiences that you had in high school.
Well, first I want to start by saying to Kare, probably you're in the wrong profession. Ulifaa kuwa athlete. 200 stairs every morning at 5 a.m. Kwa hiyo baridi. Hiyo ina sound kama description ya Eden camp ya marathoners. Yeah, but I'm excited. I'm happy for you. So yeah, my high school, I was in kuna mtu hapo amesema Gill House. Kwa kungangania mat. Huyo msee ana sound ni kama tulikuwa in the same high school. But I remember there was a time there was a teacher's strike. Sometimes I figure out which time I was in high school. And during the teachers' strike, what happened was that so not so many teachers used to come to school. In fact, there were very few teachers in school at that point. I was in a day school, very good school. And at that point, I remember, guys used to skive or just, get away from school when there are no classes or when the teachers are not showing up. So I remember that day, the headmaster, the principal said that if if you are man enough, if you're going to skive, use the front gate. And for a Form 2 who's like sort of depressed, that sounded like such an interesting challenge, And let's just say we took up that challenge. By that break time, that day, we had Skype school using the front gate. And our plan was we'll use the front gate and we'll behave as if we have sick leave. And if we get it, if we get out, that would be cool. If we don't, if we get to a place where, someone asks for something, let's just say, mguu niokoe. That's not a very good thing to say, but I wanted to say me too. At that point, there were many things we could have done, just as being high school students from Form 2. I think there are many stories I could tell you about things that I did in high school, some which you're wondering, what were you thinking at that point? I'm also puzzled by some of those things. Yeah, but those are some of the experiences, just learning stuff in high school.
Let's just say we are glad that you didn't turn out that way. That you turned out for the good, Manze. Manze, thank you. Yobes, if I may come right to you, I want to ask you, what one lesson did you learn from your high school or university that you took with you? What is that one lesson that you learned in high school or university that you took with you?
I guess in high school yetu ilikuwa survival for the fittest. Yani school yetu tulikuwa tunasema watu wanafaa kuingia huko through recruitment kama ile ya jeshi. So one thing for sure that ukitoka high school yetu you are sure to survive anywhere. As in, school yetu ilikuwa hiyo shule. But then every time we got to close school, na kila mtu anaenda kwao. Hiyo kitu ilikuwa inafanya nione as in hizi vitu na take so serious ama so deep, as in mtu akikukosea kadogo hivi unaitake personal nini, and then pale at the end of the term kila mtu akikusanya vilago zake anaenda kwao nyumbani. Ilikuwa zile za kumbe huyu mzee yani ananiaffect yanga tu hapa hivi shule, hata affect maisha yangu kubwa sana, so like, every time I'm going home, I'm like, okay, hakuna mtu nimepeleka kwetu nyumbani, kila mtu ameenda kwao, so sijui mbona sio ni stress, hata kumbe ni shule tu imetukutanisha pamoja. So yeah, I stopped taking things personal at a very early stage. Hapo Form 2 hapo ndio nilijanjarukia hiyo story, then niko tu like kumbe ni shule tu. So and up until today nasemanga watu watakuja na maopinion zao kwa life yangu, watu watafanya vitu mingi, lakini yeah, I know I've told you this before, Peter. Kama mtu akuji kwangu nikiwasha gas anazima, sidhani anani affect. So yeah, that's one big lesson I took out of high school.
Lazima ungetumia tu gas, Yobes, no, I mean, now that you know what you know now, would you still go back and do high school all over again with the same principle?
Well, first of all, the way I am right now, nikirudi high school, I think nitafukuzwa. Kuna vitu kwanza tu sita condone kufanyiwa, ati unapatikana nje umeenda msalani and then all of a sudden you are being punished. Call of nature doesn't have timing. Haijui kama class itaendelea ama iendelee. So high school was a big scam. But what would I do different? I think I'll do the same thing. Ili nipunguzia stress mingi. I'll do exactly the same thing. Yeah. Singe change hiyo nini.
All right, okay. Sawa manze. Asante tena sana. Naangalia tu kwa comment section, mimi nacheka tena sana. People at the comment section, especially pale kwa Instagram manze, mnanimaliza. Yaani kuna mtu tu ameuliza, by then niulize, mole concept inakusaidia aje ama inatusaidia kweli? Jumanze kuna vitu mob sana yenye tulilearn in school. Well, well, we have the rest of the evening to just talk about with the application and the and how well whatever we learned went a long way to apply to us. So Kanana, I don't know if you can, if your audio is a bit better right now. Can you hear me? Okay, great. Nara, I'll go back to you again, yeah, and just ask you to this question. Again, I still ask you the same question that Yobes is from answering, yeah. What one lesson did you learn from your high school or campus that you took with you?
I actually learned lessons from both. From high school, I learned that there's so much more to life coming. When you think, so the high school that I went to, I think, okay, so maybe now I'll just say, I went to Pangani Girls, and, being in that school, I don't know how it is now, to be fair, but in my time, it was drilled in us so heavily that life was about academics. You had to do good in academics. If you're not good in academics, then you're basically a useless human being. I won't lie and say that I was an A student. I get around stuff, but it was just challenging for me for school. I applaud the person who's asked that question about moles, because same question here. I quit on chemistry when moles started. I just quit. But yeah, I think looking back, the lesson that I learned from high school was there's so much more to life, even in difficulty. When you feel like times in life are difficult, first, they don't last forever, and second, there's still so much more to the story that's ahead. And I'm so grateful that I got to finish high school, as difficult and as challenging as it may have been. I'm grateful that I finished it, because it was through high school that ushered me into campus. And the lesson that I learned during campus was, or living campus, was the balance of life. In campus, it's that one statement that we have so many times: with freedom comes responsibility. And that was well played. I believe every single one of us, that was a value or a statement that was challenged in one way or another, where there's so much freedom to go to class or not, freedom to shack up with your boyfriend off campus or not, freedom to use your school fees for other things and not pay or not. And that I've carried through. It's in just wherever you're placed, you always have a choice to make. You either choose to do things right, or you choose to not do things right. And for every choice that you make, then there's a consequence. So yeah, those are the two lessons that I learned from both high school and university. Yeah.
Great, thank you, Nara. You said something that just made me really captured my attention to kidogo too, and I just want to digress to kidogo and just ask, anyone here can answer. Yeah, let's talk about relationships as a high school. High school. How are they coming along? Please, hi. Anyone care to comment? Relationships high school, zilawapelekaje? You want to tell us about the one that got away? Pastor Brian, kuna wenye unaniangalia ni kama nimekukumbusha nani. Tell us, we are here for you.
So funny story. It's interesting. It's so funny. All my high school life, I was a guy who went for so many outings, school outings, and I was a guy in all those spaces. But then the funny thing is that I was very social, but I didn't have a girlfriend all through Form 1 to Form 4. Okay, not because I didn't want to. Let's just say wale niliuliza ni kama hawakukuwa wanaangalia side yangu, na wale wengi, wacha niseme wengi ndio isikae vibaya, na wale wengi wenye walikuwa wanaangalia side yangu sikuwa naangalia side yao. Does that make sense? So anyway, I didn't have a relationship in high school.
Where?
So,
Okay. Yes.
yeah,
Right.
I have a story. So, I shared it with one of my closest friends sometime last week, but one. So there is this guy. So nilikuwa Form 3 your time, but this guy alikuwa amemaliza Form 4. That's how we started dating. I think December ya form 2 nikiingia form 3 or I can't remember hapo tu. So mimi nikirudi shule, we used to write each other letters. Alikuwa ananiandikia and then namwandikia, but alikuwa anazipata. So there's this one day I had a balance of 500 ya fee. Sasa nikajiambia aki nilikuwa nimemiss, like nilikuwa na homesick. So nini tulikuwa tunafukuziwa fee everyone. So nikaitiwa fee, like I was so happy. Niliruka kwa desk. Wow, I was so happy nimefukuziwa school fees. And then ilikuwa fee 500, alafu natumia 500 kwenda home. Until nilifika hivi mamangu kaniambia 500 yenye umetumia kukuja na usingelipa na fee. So I went home and then nikajifanya, so nikakaa home at around 5 nikajifanya naenda nini kuchota maji, because in our house we fetch water outside. So nikachukua mtungi nikaenda nikaeka kwa tap. And then ndio nikakimbia kwa kina huyo Charlie. Kwa natu imagine nikapata wanapaka ati wanahama. I cried. And imagine that's how wakihama venye walihama, as in that was there. And he used to come to our home kunitafuta, and then nakaa kwa window nikimwangalia. So yeah, that was such an interesting time. Na hiyo ndio hiyo relationship ilisha venye tu walihama. Yeah.
The Lord sent you home to say goodbye.
Kare, manze nimefeel story yako. Pole manze, pole sana. Pole sana. But iko sawa manze. Kama uko hapa nolihat Kare, please apologize. Hii mambo ya kuhama bila notice sio mzuri. Si poa, usiumize watu bure. Usiumize watu bure. Yo base naona umezona out. Sijui ni story gani unataka kutuambia saa hizi. Tumalize your relationships in high schools too.
Pale high school kuna siku tulienda funky, nilikuwa nacheza basketball. Sasa very early in my high school life tukaenda funky basketball games, and then mimi nikufika huko nika notice kamsupare unacheki wa shule ingine next. So me I was just like, unajua venye unajipea psyche, it's about time niende niongeleshe yule dem. So shule yao ilikuwa inacheza, but yeye alikuwa hapo hivyo bench. So venye nimezunguka nikaenda hapo hivyo bench, alafu ati ili tuanze kuongea akasubstitutiwa, akaingia game. Mtu mwingine akatoka. So as in literally nilikuwa nishafika hapo. So nikajipata naongea na dem mwingine. Manzi na huyo dem mwingine ndivyo nilienda kumkatia. Well, haiko kukatia lile, but ilikuwa ka conversation kalishika. Then kwenda shule like 2 weeks later nimepata barua. Maboy wangu aniambia, bro, umeandikiwa barua. So mimi niko tu like, man, lakini si huyo dem ndio nilikuwa naendea bishte yake akaingia game. So nikaenda kuongea naye. Sasa hii barua nini? Maboy wako, bro, reply barua. Wewe unatumiwa barua hapo, unataka kureply, sisi hatuna mabarua hapa hivi. Man, so nika reply. Acha tuseme that was one of my very most awkward relationships. Juu haikuwa tu juu. Anyway, from the beginning that was not what I was going for, but nilipata dem sasa high school, alikuwa class lower than me. So venye nilimaliza form 4 and then tukaenda kampo, alibaki high school. Acha tu niseme hiyo relationship tu hapo ndio iliishia. Sina mambo mingi ya kusema, picha ni hayo tu. If you know, you know.
Uko unacheza basketball kwa uwanja, lakini wewe ulikuwa player. Get it? Hiyo base. Asanteni manze, umenifurahisha tena sana. Nilikuwa naona especially hizi stories za watu kuhama during high school. Naona kuna msee kwa comment section alikuwa anasema ati alitoka high school, alitoka midterm akapata crush wake amehama, alafu hiyo ndo time ile ngoma ya Jordan Sparks na Chris Brown ya No Air ilikuwa imetokea. Sasa yenyewe hapo ukweli alikuwa anacheza na No Air kabisa ya ukweli. We said the comment section people are still going back to the Quetry keyboard, ile keyboard wakati unlimited SMS ilikuanga 10 bob per day, ulikuanga tu unacheza na umeiva kuitext, yani una text mpaka hata all the keypads zinapoteza all the words tu, lakini unajua mahali mpaka full stop, semicolon, kila kitu iko tu. Manze, it was really cool. Nara, I want to transition and just ask you this question. And I think this is a question that so many people have asked. I mean, we've asked ourselves at the comment section, not only with potassium permanganate inatusaidia aje, Golgi bodies inatusaidia aje, mitochondria inanipeleka wapi saizi, moles inanipeleka wapi. The question is, do the degrees or any other educational papers that we did, do they have any relevance to this time? Degree yako basically imekusaidia?
I'd like to answer that question with a yes. Personally, degree yangu mi imenisaidia na haijanisaidia. I'll answer it in this sense. It has helped me because it is proof that what you're stating, to the level of education that you state to have reached is actually what it is. So it's just a verification, in line of integrity. It's basically just a verification process. So for that, yes. But career-wise, it has helped me get a job in terms of, the verification process. But I have not worked in the field of what I studied. So in campus, I went to Daystar University at the River, and I studied community development as my major and psychology as my minor. I ended up enjoying psychology more than I did community development. And just when I left campus, I interned at an NGO for 3 months. I hated it because of the monotony. So that in that way, I feel like that those 3 months helped me understand myself and helped me understand what kind of work environment I'd like to be in. And I was definitely not going to be comfortable in a monotonous environment. So NGO was just not it. It still is not. I mean, I respect NGOs and everything that they do, but it's just not what I do. But yes, so yes, it does. I think it has its place. Do degrees help? Yes. Imenisaidia na haijanisaidia. I don't know if that answers, but yeah, imenisaidia na haijanisaidia. I hope I've answered just by giving that experience.
Right, great. Asante. Kare, I'd go back to you again with the same question.
For me, naweza sema like the degree that I did, I did a diploma in cargo and dangerous goods management. I'd say for me, Aki for real haijanisaidia, but imenipatia knowledge of like widen up my mind, because right now I'm doing something totally different. Like I'm in Bible school. What does Bible school have to do with cargo? Like nafaa kuwa kwa airport nikirelease mizigo, nikifanya sijui hizo kucheck mizigo zikipita zikiingia. So for me ili widen up my mind in terms of knowledge. Nilipata knowledge about whatever I was learning, and yeah, for me I ndasema tu kana imenisaidia na haijanisaidia, because right now nafanya niko Bible school, and in Bible school I believe the diploma that I'm getting na degree yenye nitapata itanisaidia in terms of my calling, because yeah, itanisaidia in terms of my calling, because right now the way I used to understand Bible, it's like Saina's view. I have a different understanding of the word of God than venye nilikuwa now when I was first getting into ministry and realizing my calling and yes, doing ministry. So right now I believe the whatever I'm doing in school itanisaidia than whatever I did. Sijui kama nimejibu swali.
Umejibu tena vizuri sana. Asante Karen. To expand this bracket, I think when you how I see it, and then maybe I'll ask Pastor Brian to just answer this as well as he learns this conversation. But I think kuna definitely what we did in high school and the subjects that we decided to settle on, what were 3 sciences, mmesalimiwa, watu wa business, agriculture, wasalkonga nashindwa wakituringia kwa sababu kashamba kao kamemea vitu manzeni wanashindwa. But you know what I mean, like all the different subjects that we did in high school and going to campus then, and then now doing a course, and then you transition and you may not necessarily be applying it or not. I think kama in regards to kukusaidia, if kukusaidia is you proceeded on from your first degree or your first college paper to now the rest of your life, I think in that context then watu wengi sana wajasaidika na shule. But I'd like to think that the moment you went through high school, no Kamaliza, you're not the same person. The moment you stepped foot in that college, that university campus, and you stayed there for 4 years, when you graduated, you're not the same person as well. The fact that you're able to do assignments on time, you're able to, work with people who you did not necessarily agree with their principles, their ways of reasoning, but you're able to sit down with them in group discussions and have conversations with them. And be able to get projects done on time, to get assignments done on time, the ability for you to be sent to do an attachment to a company or an industry for 3 months without pay, and you survive that for again 3 months, your ability to go out there and do a project very well. You come and defend a project that maybe 30% about it, but you're going to say it from the heart because you need that A. I think by the time you're graduating, there are skills that you've been able to articulate in yourself that makes you a better person. And it's safe to say that inakusaidia then, because fair enough, you did your first degree in this and this, and you're applying something else right now. I'll use myself as an example. My first degree was in industrial and applied chemistry. Right now, I'm focusing on leadership development. They're not related at all, but I'd like to think that the time that I took in the time that I took in campus doing the industrial chemistry articulated or brought out a few character traits about me that go a long way in making me do my job better. The resilience, the persistence, the hard work, the research. I'd like to think that all these things went a long way in making me a better person. So I may not necessarily go back to applying chemistry maybe in the next decade, but I'm very confident that the time that I had in campus went a long way to help me, achieve the things that I'm doing right now. Pastor Brian?
Yeah, so thank you. I think, listening to Kare, listening to Nara, I just talking about their schooling life, and how they have used their, how either the degree, the diploma, or your education post high school, if it has been able to help you in your work right now, and there's a yes and no at the same time. And just listening to you as well, Peter, I feel like there's a place for me. This is how I look at life. I look at life in the sense that God expects us to be good stewards of every season that we are in. So wherever He has blessed us, He wants us to be there 100%. And if there's something, just to answer maybe the question that you had asked earlier, if you were to go back to your, schooling life, what would you do differently? For me, I'd say live in the moment, as in live in the moment, as in the present time. Because for me, I felt like a lot of the times I kept on thinking of what is ahead. Tukimaliza high school, nikifika form 3, say uko form 1. Uko form 1, nafikiri ukifika form 2. You're thinking of the next holiday and you're now in school instead of reading. So as you're always thinking about the next thing as opposed to the current thing, which is not bad in the sense that, as in, if you have a vision of where the future is. But then the thing was that I was just not living in the moment. I was not practicing what was there. Having said that, I was not too badly off, but there were a number of times when I felt like I was just off the time. And that's something that if I was to go back, I would actually make better use of the moment, just living in the moment. After I finished high school, I got to do IT, and I have a certificate in IT, a diploma in IT, and a degree in IT. And right now I'm a practicing pastor. And you wonder how does this two apply? By the time I was actually joining the IT field, I actually knew that God has called me to ministry. And I still went on ahead and I did a course in IT. Why? Because I also felt like in that moment, God had directed me to go that direction in that season. How long that was going to last, I didn't know, but I knew at that moment that I was very sure. And truly, even walking through that whole time, my certificate, my diploma, my degree, and even work after that, that still made sense to me in the sense that as in God opened ways, he opened doors in that season to know people, to practice what you're talking about here, just the skills, getting to be better at what you do, just using what God has given you in the moment to be better. And for sure, in my later campus life, I can tell you that I began to learn to live in the moment and to utilize the season that I was in. So I would say that to answer your question is that if we can live in the moment, if we can take advantage of what we have, what we already have, then it will help us. When I looked at this, this discussion for today, one of the things that came into mind is just that, are there things that happened in your past when you are in high school or when you're in campus that are affecting your current life right now? Maybe an area of your life that you didn't deal with properly, like a past issue, that's something that happened to you, like maybe a traumatic issue that happened to you when you're in campus or high school that you didn't deal with properly, and because you didn't deal with it properly, it's actually affecting how you're related to people right now, either to do with your personality or even an area of abuse, And so when I was thinking about this and also praying about it, I felt like God is sending me back to a place of, how do you press on? How do you get back to that place of just learning from God? And then Peter, I don't know if you want me to read the scripture right now or I do it later.
I'll get back to you on that. But you've mentioned something really, really cool that has gotten my attention, and I think I like Yobes to have this one. Yobes, do you mind sharing an experience or a defining moment that you had either in high school or campus that will always change your life forever?
Yes, Peter, I'd like to share. When I went to campus in JKUAT, let me say in terms of my spirituality, I was just a confused young man. I was mad at the church for reasons that we might discuss in another live. I was just like, I was living life. I was living large, not financially, but ikikam kwa sherehe nilikuwa napiga sherehe. But life was not, as in it was not fulfilling at the end of the day. As in bado nilikuwa na feel, yani ikitu is not it. This is not it, And so one of the best things that ever happened in my life was coming across a campus community called The Journey in JKUAT, which is kind of even how I came to know about ICC, because ICC is like the parent of The Journey in several campuses in Nairobi. And man, I met some authentic people right there, and my spiritual journey started being redefined from that stage. Christianity was redefined from that point onwards, and all of a sudden I was experiencing things that I could write home about. Madhe akinipigia home, akinipigia pale hivyo aniulize weekend imekuaje, manze, I was now doing life, meaningful life that I could even narrate to her word by word, even without skipping even a single experience of things that I am doing with my life hapo hivyo in campus with this new community that I had found. And yeah, the community, in the community I was given even a chance to explore my hobbies that were even besides what I was studying, and my interest, and those interests right now is what I am working, is what I do for my life. Hata hiyo diploma ya IT bado sijaitumia, but I think ili connect vizuri na stories zangu za media juu saa already nilikuwa nishaanza kujua kutumia computer. So when it comes to learning to edit, it was easy. But meeting the Journey campus community in high school was life redefining for me. And Yeah, as in nikianza kuongea story ya Jane manzi hapa tuta nini. I think unafaa kunipea siku moja niseme testimony yangu yote in full and why the campus community redefined the spirituality for me, but yeah, that's one thing that really as in kuna matime naambianga watu. I think I went to campus to meet the Journey campus ministry, and yeah, that's it Peter.
Thank you, Yobes Manzi. An amazing ministry right there called the Journey ICC. It's in Yobes. You can tell us just in maybe 30 seconds what campuses are. Journey is actively participating in them.
The Journey campus ministry is in the University of Nairobi. It's in Kenyatta University. It's in Jomo Kenyatta University, and it's in Mount Kenya University. As in iko Thika Road yote, kutoka kwenye Thika Road imeanzia hadi huko Thika hadi MKU. So yeah, and if you want contacts that you can reach out to if you're in any of those universities, usiogope kuslide kwa DM. I will give you the contacts of anyone you can reach out to if you are in any of those universities. Yeah.
Great. Asante sana Yobes. Tunangoja sana Journey mwingie Mombasa Road ndio mjenge pia watu wa side ya Mombasa Road na nini. Asante. I'd go back to Nara and ask the same question. What defining, do you mind sharing any defining moments that you had both in high school, either in high school or campus, that changed your life completely?
For one, just off the top of my head, the one thing that was very clear in both high school and let me start by this. So high school was for me, the most remarkable, like the one thing I'm grateful for being in high school is I gave my life to Jesus when I was in high school at 15. So basically I was raised in a Catholic and SDA home. My dad was SDA, my mom was Catholic. And so for me, just like, salvation for me was nobody ever witnessed to me. No one ever told me about Jesus. And then I go to high school, and then there's Weekend Challenge in third term. And then this ministering team comes to school and they minister. And, I just knew that this was one defining decision that I needed to make in my life. And I'm so grateful that I did, because I truly believe that Jesus made the difference for me in high school. He really, really did. If I did not have Jesus, if I didn't develop a relationship with Jesus, I truly believe my high school experience would have been completely different. Because in my high school, you were sent home for anything and everything. You were sent home for laughing in class. You were sent home for being in the toilet at the wrong time. You were sent home for wearing the wrong pleated skirt. You were sent home for the wrong color of skirt. It was anything and everything. So there was a lot of fear. For me, I feel in my time, there's a lot of fear instilled, being around school. So yeah, Jesus did make the difference. So for that, I'm grateful. That was a defining moment for me in high school. And then in campus, I'm truly grateful that it was in campus that a lot of my giftings came to life. Giftings on leadership, giftings on especially on admin, because I'm a gifted administrator, and I believe a lot of that was formed while I was in campus. And I'm so grateful that as I trusted the Lord and as I sensed His leading in serving, in joining ministry, I served in Sing Africa in campus. I was mostly in campus. And I remember, actually, if I could just give us a short story. Those ones, I was so heavily invested in ministry in campus. I was just like, I woke up and I was just like, Lord, send me wherever you want to send me. And I remember one day, as I was praying, I sensed the Lord remind me, Nat, I need you to remember that you're in school to study as well. So for those of us who, and I feel like as I was preparing for this, I sensed the Lord was also reminding me again, for those of us in campus and are passionate about serving and being sent of the Lord, send me to the nations, Lord. Now is the time. That's great. And may the fire continue. But please remember, you're your parents' investment. You've gone to school first to study, and then ministry is just an added advantage. Of course, ministry is everything, but just remember that what took you to school is to study first. So please also put effort in study. It's very, very important to study. So yeah, those are the two defining. So in high school, I gave my life to Jesus, and I truly believe that, growing in relationship with Jesus made all the difference in high school for me. And then for campus, it was a lot of, my giftings and just the areas of giftings for me where I flourish developed a lot or were established or came to life when I was in campus. Yeah.
Great, thank you for that. I think as we begin to land this plane, I'll just go to Pastor Brian and ask, does God really want me to be educated? Does God really want me to be educated? Because truth be told, there are quite a number of times when it seems as if the excellence in education and giving a life to Christ and serving Him fully, they don't seem to be in the same way scales. So does God really want me to be educated? Pastor B?
Yeah, yes, I believe he does. I believe he does, because for me, how I look at education is that education is both formal and informal, in the sense that formal, that it's a school that you go to, that you've paid school fees and you get in there and do it. But also there is a formal informal education where you're learning from life, you're picking up skills from life. I like what Nara has just said about, that in her campus life, she got to, discover a lot of her giftings, but she discovered them as she was serving. She was being used of the Lord, and she began to discover, I'm a good administrator, I'm a good leader, I'm good at these things. And as she was listening to God, what happened to her also, God reminded her of what she needed to do in her season. And for me, I feel like education is not even a choice, as in it's something we have to do, because we have to get better. I'm learning stuff, as I told you guys, degree, certificate, diploma in one course. And right now I'm doing nothing to do with that course. I'm doing something totally different. I'm now in Bible school, completing a degree in Bible. And I want to advance that and continue to do something else. And I'm going to add to that knowledge, and I'm going to add and get even more skills to do other things. But even as I did that, earlier I was sharing with you guys, maybe privately, I was just talking about the area of the way when I finished campus, I had this CV that I had drawn for IT, and I was sending it out. But also during my season in campus and post high school, I was a member of the Stompers, which is a dance group within ICC. And I was serving in the Stompers. There I discovered my gifting in not just in performing arts, but also in leadership. And just, so because of those two things, what happened is that I had a dance CV and also had what's it called? IT CV. And I could tell you for sure, I could get jobs, dance gigs, at the same time, could also get IT gigs, simply because during my season, when I had a bit more time, I used my time to practice dance. I used my time to practice leadership within church, to serve within the church community. And even the recommendations in that CV were heavier because it was something I fully knew well, because I utilized my time well. So do you need to be educated? Yes, you do need to be educated. So if you look at it in that form, that education is both formal and informal, then you'll go out there willing to learn and unlearn stuff, because there's a lot of stuff as well that you need to unlearn. I remember just going back and telling myself, there's a moment when people used to say, I don't like reading books. I'm not a books person. I remember having those statements at one point, but then I was like, that's such a lie of the enemy, because the Bible is multiple books, 66 books. So if you're not a books person, are you not going to read the Bible? So, and there's a lot of knowledge that I get even from other books that I've read, either spiritual books or even non-spiritual books, but just maybe principles on leadership, principles on how to do life. And I read those things. So education is all over the place. When I listen to sermons, I take notes and I ask myself, what will I do differently? And sometimes I'm listening to a sermon that on a word that I've probably preached about more than once. I've had the same word in many people, but I'm still taking notes because I want to learn and unlearn. So education never stops. So I'll just say, does God want you to be educated? I believe he does. I believe he does, because I believe he's a God who wants you to represent him well, whatever sphere of life you're in. remember you're an ambassador of Christ. If you're a believer, you're an ambassador of Christ. You're here on earth to represent him. If you're an unbeliever, then you need to know that God loves you so much and he cares for you so much that he's giving you an opportunity to be a believer, to be part of his children, to say, that I'm a child of God. And that's an opportunity that you can choose to take in or not. But my prayer for you is that you decide to take in that opportunity, because I believe many of us, our lives changed when we met Jesus. I also met Jesus when I was in high school. In Form 3, I gave my life to Christ. And during that time, what happened to me is that my life just began to change, because I realized now that I'm no longer living for myself, I'm living for Christ. Then I had to be obedient to what Christ was calling me to do. Yeah, Peter.
Great. So much is happening in the comment section on Instagram, Yani. Hey, it's such an entertainment vibe by itself there. But thank you, Pastor Brian, for just shedding light on the importance of education, even in the life of a Christian. And you cannot evade education, in the place of a Christian, because as you see, the Bible has 66 chapters. So reading is for life. Yopes, I guess I just land this final question with you. What's the place of education in your life? What's the place of education in your life?
I guess as Pastor Brian has said, you never stop learning. As in, manze sijui kama kuna mtu ashaifika aone yani ni amefika. Even as I work at my place of work to key, as a videographer and video editor, kuna kuanga na rule pale hivyo hapo na kina Jesse my colleagues, like just try to learn something new every single day. And manze, there's so much to learn. Hata ukiinvolve to a colleague of yours that mnawak na yeye umuulize unafanyanga aje, utaona anafanyanga vitu different na wewe. You'll figure out they have a shortcut of doing something that wewe unazungukanga, a whole lot of way to do the same thing. There's an easier way of doing it. So I guess mindset of learning in every circumstance is super important. Juu ukitembea around na ile attitude ya I know it all, I guess you are at a disadvantage, because you're not ready to learn something new. And also Pastor amesema unlearning pia ni muhimu sana. Kwanza I don't know if it's me who feel this ama kuna watu wengine wanasikia kama high school was super toxic for most of the people. Super toxic. As in, pale hivyo high school ya boys, toxic masculinity was taught pale, yani in crazy amounts. And so when it comes to unlearning things, see, as in, kuna vitu only pick up at the place where you are supposed to be learning that are not worthy being part of your life. And so you need to put yourself in environments where una realize, there's an alternative way of doing things, there's an alternative way of doing life. And so you allow yourself to unlearn those toxic traits. Mimi bado ile degree bado sijai graduate, lakini nakuanga na place yenye kwa akili yangu kuna debate. Sometimes I feel like, I need to go back to school and finish the media degree. Sometimes I'm just like, it's education life, but yeah, education is super important. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. That's what I am gonna say, Peter. Education is important. Peter, you good? Naona umefreeze on my end. Sijui kama ni mimi ama what is happening.
I think he has frozen. As he's coming back, maybe Kare can tell us what her final remarks are.
So my final remark is, as in high school was a learning ground. Hata kama there's so many things that were happening during that time. Aki mimi, achani niwaambie mimi, I hated school. I hated going back to school. I remember there's a day I cried. My mom akinipeleka shule, and then that day there was this celeb who died. Alikuwa anaitwa Lydias, I think. Lydias. So my mom was thinking, yani unalia juu Lydias amekufa, mimi nalia juu sitaki kurudi shule. So I learned so many things in high school. And when it comes to campus, I also learned I can't trade anything for that season that I had in high school, and both in high school and both in campus. And right now where I am, I'm applying the principles I learned in high school, both because I'm a people person. So my close friends know, like, I love people. And in high school, I learned how to relate with different kind of people. Like in shule unakamingia across watu wako na different personality, as in unaweza kuta mse anajaa maraka, mse hajaa maraka, mse mwenye hapendi vitu zifanywe hivi. Unaona, so I learned how to deal with different kind of people, and learning that, I've come to apply it in my ministry. Like anyone mwenye ako kwa ministry, we deal with people, tuna deal na hati za watu, we deal with different kind of people, we need to accommodate all these people. So one lesson, the most important lesson I got in school is like knowing how to relate with people, and it changed my life forever because I know how I can relate with Pastor Bran, I know how I can relate with Nara, and I know how I can minister to them in regards to their personality. So yeah, high school, like venye Pasu umesema, like let us, if you're in campus high school ama uko shule, treasure those moments and take one day at a time. Yeah, that's my final remark.
Yeah, Peter, can I say something just to tag on to?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, and you can also give us your parting shot while you're doing so.
All right. So I like what Karia said about just there are things that were in the past, and I feel like there's a lot of that even for people who went through something in high school that was pretty traumatic, or campus that was pretty traumatic. I know of people who got into campus thinking nitamaliza campo. First year unaingia, unakuwa derailed, you get pregnant, and you are unable to finish your course, or now you have to come back and rejoin later on. So it sort of carries some wound for you, even as you look back at your either campus life or high school life. Maybe something really horrible happened during your season in high school. And for me, I just want to say to you today that I believe as we are coming into this session, while I was praying, one of the things that for me was very clear is that God wants to set us free. There's something that Paul talks about in Philippians chapter 3, verse 13. I was going to create a chapter in Philippians. Philippians chapter 3, verse 13 and 14. And this is what it says. Brothers and sisters, I do not consider myself yet to have taken hold of it. But one thing I do, forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is ahead. And that's my focus for you. Forgetting what is behind and straining towards what is ahead. I press on toward the goal to win the prize for which God has called me heavenward in Christ Jesus. And I feel like it's really important for us to consider that, to look at what has happened in the past and to literally either forget it or ask God to heal you from that, and healing can come in different ways. Healing can come from a place of, someone prays for you, you pray and you forgive and you let go. And you don't just forgive the people who messed you up, but you also forgive yourself, because there are people who actually hold themselves responsible for what happened in the past. And maybe you don't even want to look back. And that has shaped how you reason right now, how you think, who you want to relate with. And for me, I just want to ask you to focus on what is ahead. And the goal is for you to be more like Christ. The goal is for you to draw closer towards Christ. And that would be my prayer for you, that when you look at your school life, high school, and secondary, high school and university, that you look back at that time and say, that's a time that I probably used well, or I learned some lessons and I can use these lessons to do life better. And for me, one of the things that I can tell you, if you're in campus right now, or even high school, one of the things that you can do, 3 things, I'll just put them in 4 FGs. When you're in high school, find God, find God, find his purpose for you. And then finally, find a good community, find good friends, people who can work with you. Yobes has talked about just the essence of community. When he was in campus, he found a very good community that helped him to move from a place of not knowing God, or having a shaky relationship with God, to a place of really loving God and realizing that he can be good at that. But also the second thing was, just being in that place of finding yourself in God, finding God's purpose for you. And I believe that's what Nara was talking about when she was talking about just getting to know her skills, getting to know what she's gifted in. And in that, those things bring her life in her. And so this is an opportunity for us. So whatever season that we are in, I pray for you that one, you will forgive, not just the people, but forgive yourself. And then find God, find good community, find God's purpose for you. God bless you guys. That's my parting shot.
Wow, amazing. Thank you, Pastor Brian. And for the people who are looking for a community and you're in high school or campus, we have the TLC, which is a Teens Love Culture, an amazing ministry where we get to do life with teenagers even as they're in high school, and amazing frontrunners, which is the youth church of ICC. And you get to belong. Your base has mentioned to us about Journey ICC, but there are also so many ministries that you can get to become plugged in. You get plugged in. You get to have a set of people who you do like.
Okay, it looks like Peter's internet has refused. All right. Yeah, so I believe Peter was on. Yeah, carry on, Peter. All right. So I believe Peter was talking about just if you want to get in touch with any of us, kindly do go ahead and just hit the DM of Frontrunners, either on Facebook or on Instagram. Just DM us. We'll let you know more about what we do. We have Teens Love Culture, what he was mentioning about the teens, and then we also have Frontrunners, which is basically campus ministry, the ministry that deals with anyone who's in campus, or maybe even just post-campus in a first job or second job, and that's where you are. Every young person, there's a church to be. Tomorrow at 10:15, we hit the service together, and I know Peter has something to say before we conclude. So Peter, right back to you.
Sorry, me and my internet, we have gone to find X. Tumepata, tumerudi sasa. Thank you, Pastor B. Tomorrow at 10:15, man, we got to do our frontrunner service. This will be live in YouTube and Facebook. YouTube and Facebook at 10:15. If you get the link, please go ahead and share it to as many friends as possible, Manze. And also, it's just a request to ask, please reach out to friends in your CG, in your church, in the ministry that you serve with, in the guy who sits or the lady who sits next to you in church. Please reach out to them and check up on them, Manze. And I know this definitely goes a long way. This has been amazing. This has been so much fun, Manze. I mean, I have been thoroughly entertained by the comment section, Manze. Shout out to everybody who has been tuned in live during the whole time, Manze. I hope this conversation has got you thinking about something, has motivated you if you're in school doing your second degree or master's as well. to just keep on doing education, you know, because we still glorify God through excellence, and excellence can still be executed through education and schooling, Manzi. So that's it for me and this amazing team. Thank you so much, Kanana. And I was sorry that your internet was, you know, a bummer, but you'll be able to do this again next time. Thank you, Nara. Thank you, Jacinta. Hari. Thank you, Yobes, Manze. Yeah, this has been amazing. And finally, thank you, Pastor Brian, for being a blessing to us as well. So that's it for me and this amazing panel that we've been hanging out with, Manze. Do have yourselves an amazing evening. God bless you and see you guys tomorrow at 10:15 a.m. All right. Goodbye. Good night. Good night.